Mom,
Yeah.
I want to show your father's paintings on the video.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
They're beautiful paintings. Do you like to be surrounded by your father's paintings?
Yes, I love.
Okay, I'm going to go show him now. Bye. For now. This is a painting that came from Russia, Kazakhstan. My grandfather, Leon Lefkowitz, escaped the Germans and fled to Russia. And when he was there, he had to change his painting style. He had to paint pictures of like people working in the fields, or you'll see some others. The painting on top is a painting that I bought from someone in, I think, South America. It might have been Colombia. Look, the one below is simply a photograph of another painting I have at my house. My grandfather painted Jewish subjects, mostly portraits, and also gypsies. And many of the people in his pictures likely died in the Holocaust. This is a picture of a partisan fighter, and it's pretty clear that my mom's sister, my aunt Anna, was the one who posed for that painting. This was the first original painting that we had. My grandmother somehow got it from a museum curator in Poland, and it's of a gypsy. And it's the first one that my family got maybe 50 years ago. We didn't get many of these others until more recently. These are all prints of paintings. These happen to be sculptures that my mom made, not the David, this guy, and that guy in the back, and those two people. My aunt was also a very well-known, in her time, sculptor in Poland. This painting has a great story. It's of three gypsies. I grew up with just a black and white picture of this on our wall. And I thought that was a painting because my mom said we don't have any paintings, and we didn't even have that other one, which was the first one. And she said, no, that's just a picture. She said the Germans took or burned all the paintings. I found this painting on the internet and bought it. It's one of my best finds to be able to get that painting back. I also have a photograph on my website at leonlefkowitz.com of my grandfather in an art studio with two other artists, and you can see that painting, this particular painting, hanging in the background. Again, the subjects of Jews and gypsies. This is an original on the bottom right, and the bottom left is an original as well, as is that top right. This painting came from Kazakhstan as well. It's my aunt, and I didn't explain how they came over. My aunt had a very great friend, and her name escapes me, but she didn't speak a word of English, and she contacted us and said she had these paintings because my aunt had died, and she said she needs to bring them to us. So we bought her tickets, and she flew from Russia and brought these paintings and said that, now she could die. This painting I have the original of, and that's a photograph of it, and my mom said she actually knows the subjects of that painting. This is a little girl. This painting was sold at auction. It's not an original. The paintings are everywhere. There's another couple gypsies. That's my mom's bedroom. It's amazing how she keeps everything so neat. And right next to the bed is a picture of my dad, who passed away a few years ago, and my sister, who sadly passed away at the age of 56 of cancer. And my mom used to play the organ. And even though this apartment said you can't have organs, we brought it in. This is also one of my favorites of these gypsies. I just got it recently. Got it on auction this year. That's a photo. This is an amazing thing. A friend of mine bought 100 trees and planted them in Israel for my father when he passed away. This is another original that I got. Let me just walk over here. This is a photograph of my grandfather and my grandmother with my aunt. This is a self-portrait of my grandfather. All these pictures can be seen at leonlefkowitz.com. That's my grandmother. I found this in the National Museum of Warsaw, and it was titled Portrait of an Unknown Woman. And I brought this back, and my mom said, that's my mother. And we actually have a photograph of her wearing that hat. I don't know if I have it here. This is a print. That's another picture of my grandmother, Leonora Lefkowitz, who was murdered by the Nazis in the gas chambers of Majdanek concentration camp and burned in a crematorium. That's a photograph. That's my mom dancing with her friends in a show. This is my grandfather in front of some of his paintings, and this particular painting is now in the Central Park, the Park Avenue Synagogue in New York. And another just simple photograph of a painting, another photograph of a painting. This is not an original. My cousin actually has that one. This is a nun, and it was believe it or not, my grandmother. I'm videotaping your paintings. This is a nun. My grandfather, my grandmother is the one who posed for this, believe it or not. He wasn't big on religion. Here's another one. And here's another one. And there might be some more here in the kitchen. Let's see. This is an original, my grandfather. This is that photograph of my grandfather with two famous artists of Poland. And you can see in the background, there's the picture of the gypsies, the painting of the gypsies that I now possess. Another print of a picture. Another one. This is a gypsy wedding. It's a very large wall-sized painting in the National Museum of Krakow, Poland. Just kind of like a still life. He didn't do very many of those. This is a photograph of a painting. I have the original. There's another one, and another one, and another one. And that photo where I said that painting is in the Central Park, in the Park Avenue Synagogue, this was on the cover of that magazine. And that about wraps it up. But I just think it's really cool that my mom is surrounded by the artwork of my grandfather, her father, who she last saw when she was only 12 years old. And we brought a lot of those paintings back. Mom, I videotaped the paintings, okay?
What?
I videotaped the paintings. I made pictures. Okay?